You'll need to approve that, and then we'll dive in. So one of the big things I want to share with you tonight is a way to keep in touch with things. So I want to share a screen with you. We have created a web page. So I want to share that with you just so you can see it. This web page was created by our conference team, and this is what it looks like. And this is for Florida Conference. So you'll see the logo, some Florida kids. This is for those going to the International Camporee. And if you scroll through here, if you've never been here, this might be fun for you to check out. If you have been here, this will be reviewed, but bear with us for a moment. There is a countdown, 238 days left until Gillette opens, right? There's a short video for you to just be encouraged by. And then there are three things that we want to make sure everybody knows and everybody is doing. And that is these three things here. One is buying Camporee tickets. Where do you buy Camporee tickets? Only in one place. That's camporee.org. Camporee.org is the only place to get tickets. So I invite you to make sure that you're going there. If you've not gotten a ticket, last I checked, we were under 16,000, so the tickets are selling. The second step is to register in YMMS. And some of you are asking, when will that open? By the end of January, that will be open in YMMS. And we will share more information about that once we hit our area council meetings. And those dates are all set, and those dates are coming throughout the month of January. The third thing that we encourage clubs to do is to consider getting a D container. And this is meant to be a service to clubs. It's a cardboard box, basically, that you can put all the camping gear that you want to in there. We do encourage clubs to consider carefully how they use the D container. There are things you can buy in Gillette. There are things you can pre-order through Walmart to have delivered to you at Gillette, and that will save you some space. So those are some things that we think you should consider, but we are going to open this up. So far, we've said that there are only 2 containers per club. And we're going to give you all those dates and timeline once we hit our area council meetings to say, here's how you can plan, here's how you can move forward with your D containers. We want to give everybody a chance to get at least 2, but there will be a time when we say if you haven't ordered any D containers, then we're going to move ahead and give others who want additional D containers access to those D containers. So please keep that in mind. That's something you're going to want to be budgeting for, you're going to want to be preparing for, because once those D containers go to that second level of everybody gets at least 2 before we open it up for more, that's a guarantee that everybody will get a crack at it. Once we open it up to whoever wants more gets more, the limit will be the truck. And once the truck is full, that's it, unless we get a request for another 50, and then we'll open another truck. But it takes 50 D containers to fill a truck, little over 50. So we want to make sure that clubs are tracking with us on that. And then in case you didn't like the steps, there's some other steps down here. This is where you can get Florida Conference info for clubs. And this is details that we've been sharing with you. This is information. Did the next page open up for you? This is where you'll start to see stuff of where you get your tickets. You'll see the visit dates. Some of you may want to go do a site visit. I know several of you already have, so I'm excited that you took advantage of that. That's something that you can do. And then the D container information is here. And then shirts and pins. Once those are decided and finalized, we'll put that here. I do want to just make mention of this, travel and medical insurance. This is something that everybody needs to have. This is something that's supposed to be purchased separately.
Trying to get away from the whistle of the loop. That's why we need to find out what it is so we can make it stop.
All right. Whoa. Sorry about that. I just wanted to make sure that we're looking at the same thing here. So a little tip on the medical insurance. You'll notice here the cost is under $10 per person, and there is a $20 fee. So please watch for that. We suggest that once you've bought all your tickets, once you've locked all that in, then you go and buy your insurance, because you will pay that $20 fee each time you request insurance. So to save money, do it once. and you won't have to pay that $20 fee every time. I know clubs are trying to pinch pennies and save money. Just a reminder, this travel insurance is supplementary. It is secondary. So it's not something that's primary. It's what kicks in after the Pathfinder or after the person's insurance is first to take the policy. So those are some things to think about. Medical form, we are encouraging every kid and asking every kid to have every every Florida Pathfinder have a medical form. And then also we've got some bus travel options. And this is something that our teams worked hard on to try to get you information so you can make the best decision possible. And if you click on this link, it opens up to a new page, and that page will take you to a list of buses that are available. And I'll come back to that in a second because that's on a different page. But I wanted you to see that this was our home web page that they've made for us so we can help clubs get the information that they need. And the address for that is the BTP Camporee. You can see that up in the top bar. So just wanted to start with that and make sure everybody got that information because that's a big deal. We want to make sure that you're ready to go and that you have that information. I'm going to hit some highlights in terms of some details about what's happening for the Camporee and how the timelines are going to go and all of that. Most of you by now know that the first time you can arrive on campgrounds is Monday, 8 a.m. Monday, 8 a.m. And Florida Conference will have its own entrance. It's part of the Southern Union entrance. And Camporee is asking that all clubs enter through their union entrance. So we're asking you to be prepared for that. As we get closer to the date, we'll share the exact entrance name, the road that it's on, the address to find it, so all our clubs can get there through that entrance. Keep in mind, arriving Monday at 8 a.m. gives you access to the campgrounds, but it's not until a day later and a few more hours on Tuesday noon when activities open up. So you need to keep in mind if you're planning to get there Monday 8 a.m. that you've got to do something with your Pathfinders until Tuesday noon because that's the first time that activities will open up. And then remember Tuesday evening at 7:30 p.m. is the opening program. So you want to keep that in mind also. So that's some of just the big picture things. So if someone were to call the conference because they say, well, we get in on Sunday, can we come set up on Sunday night? Could someone here on the Zoom call answer that question for us? You're thinking, my flight comes in on Sunday. I just need a place for one night. Can I just come and stay at the Camporee on Sunday night? What would the answer be? Who wants to win a prize?
The answer would be no.
That's right. The answer is no. And that's something that Camporee has said, right? That's something that they've asked us to not let anybody on. And just so you know, Sunday will be a busy day of all the decontainers getting delivered to the campsites. So we'll have a setup crew that's getting everything set up. And that's the day that we have forklifts and semis and all our staff going around to make sure things are ready for you on Monday at 8. So we don't want to run over people or have to be watching for extra people. So just be aware, Monday, 8 a.m. is the first time Florida clubs will come through the Southern Union entrance and get in to set up for camping. Richard, I see your hand.
Yes, thank you, Pastor. Quick question. What about if we were renting the 40 by 60 canopy? Is the canopy allowed to arrive there Sunday and set up or Monday?
Monday. Great question. Great question. So we ask that all clubs set up, whether it's a canopy that you rent, whether it's an RV that you want delivered, any of that should all come on Monday. And somebody from your group should be there because you know exactly where you want it to be. So we've had that happen in the past where a club orders a big tent and they send it on Monday, but no one from the club is there. And we're like, we don't know where to set it up. And the company that came to set it up wants to set it up and leave, right? They've got other appointments and other responsibilities. So if you do have something that needs to be set up, please make sure that you tell them after Monday, 8 a.m., whether it's a tent, whether you're renting tables, chairs, whether you're renting an RV, whatever it is, please ask them to wait so that we can set up all of the Florida camping area. And then you can start setting up on Monday. And you'll have a full day, right? You'll have all day Monday, half day Tuesday and really all evening Tuesday, all afternoon Tuesday to still set up. It's just that the activities will open at noon and your kids probably want to go do some stuff by then. All right. So that's the big picture. For Florida, we will start our morning meetings on Tuesday for those that are there for the event. You can come on Tuesday morning to Florida Conference headquarters, and we will have a headquarters and we'll have a brief meeting for those who have already arrived. Remember, when you arrive, there are two steps that you'll need to do. One is to check in with Camporee. That's where you'll trade your ticket for your wristband. All that's through Camporee. The other thing you'll want to do is come to the Florida Conference headquarters to check in all of your people. And that's where we'll be using YMMS and checking in everybody that way. So please make sure that you are doing both of those steps as you plan your arrival. All right. So that's just the arrival piece. If you have been watching the website, if you have gone to camporee.org, great. If you haven't, I encourage you to. Lots of information lives at camporee.org. It's always being updated with new information being added so you can see what's going on there. Southern Union will participate in an on-site parade on Friday. They'll participate in the flag raising, flag lowering. I believe Thursday night is when Southern Union has their baptisms. So if you have Pathfinders who want to get baptized at Camporee, Thursday night is the night for Florida and Southern Union. So keep that in mind. And that's the big picture of how the general week will go. If you remember, Sabbath is a big high day with a special program in the morning, some records to be broken in the afternoon. There's another on-site parade. There's an off-site parade. There's all kinds of activities on Sabbath afternoon as well. And there is an opportunity for those that want to take field excursions where you can actually drive somewhere and do something. So all kinds of information lives at camporee.org. For those of you who are in PBE and know that typically your teams do really well and you make it to the national level, the national level PBE in April will be in Greeley, Colorado. Greeley, Colorado is about 5.5 hours from Gillette. So if you haven't made a trip there and you want to go see Gillette real quick, I encourage you to consider that, to go do a site visit in April. I do think that will be a heavily visited time, right? Because a lot of clubs will be trying to go since they're close by and just take a visit and make sure they know what's going on. If you haven't planned already some kind of trip or some kind of excursion for your Pathfinders, either on the way there or on the way back or while you're there, there are lots of things to see in nature, lots of other things to see on the way. So again, I encourage you to look through the website. One of the questions that we consistently get has to do with the campsites, and it's specifically about RVs. So I want to speak about RVs at campsites. We are telling clubs you're allowed one RV per campsite. So if you're a Naples Pathfinder Club, you can have one RV in your Naples Pathfinder Club space. And if the Naples Spanish and the Naples English Pathfinder groups want to camp side by side, they'll still be set up with two separate camping spaces, and each of those camping spaces will get the one RV. Now, I do want you to know this. Not only is there a one RV limit, but you need to keep in mind that that needs to be cleared through your director. Why through your director? Because your director is the one who's managing the space, right, for your club. And which is bigger, a tent or an RV? I think you recognize that an RV is bigger than a tent. Sometimes 2, 3, 4 times the size of a tent. So as you plan, remember, RV will take up more space, which means you have less space for other stuff, other tents, other things. So that's something we want you to keep in touch with your local director on. From Florida Conference, we're saying you can have one. Your club director has to approve that. That's not an automatic thing. And then they have to make the adjustment as a local club to make sure everything else will fit. Your kitchen, your eating area, make sure that all your tents fit as well. Also, related to your camping site and to RVs, please make sure they don't come till Monday, 8 a.m. We did talk about that briefly, but please make sure that those RVs, if you are renting one, don't come before Monday at 8. And again, that's because we still have to set up and do things to make Florida camping area work. The last thing I'll share about RVs is if you do choose to get an RV, there is not going to be water or electric. So it's dry camping. So that's another thing that could help make you say, okay, I'm not going to do an RV then or a trailer because I don't want to not have water or electric. So from Florida Conference, we're being told from Camporee where we're camping has no hookups, no water, no electric. Now, just because we don't have that service doesn't mean you can't get water service. So if you do rent an RV for your camping space, you can pay for it to be pumped out. They'll drive their truck around and pump out your tank so you can get rid of your gray water, and they can pump in clean water so you can at least use your water. But that's something that would be a fee and an additional cost to you. Okay, so that's the RVs. Any questions about RVs? Okay, so let me jump to another thing that we're getting questions on, and that is golf carts. Golf carts. And I see some questions in the chat. Yes, there is a fee for the decontainer, and the doc to see the decontainer, I'll find it here in a little bit and post it in the chat because there's a whole document. You can go to the website and find that also, and maybe we'll review that. I'll make a note of that and we'll review that document together. But if you go to the BTP Camporee website that we showed you earlier, you can find all the decontainer information there. Let me go back to what we were talking about, and that is the golf carts. So Camporee is still trying to finalize the golf cart situation and picture, but I will tell you this, what we are hearing is there will be fewer golf carts available in Gillette than there were in Oshkosh. What does that mean? That means there won't be as many. There will be less golf carts. What does that mean to you? It means your chance of getting a golf cart is reduced. We have said in the past that we'll try to make it only for medical golf carts. And that probably will be the same situation where we'll only have medical golf carts. But it may be that we just say Florida Conference will have 2 medical shuttle carts, and we'll do our best to shuttle people around who have a medical condition. Because at this point, we're being told the number of golf carts will not be anywhere close to what it was in Oshkosh. So if you remember in Oshkosh, Florida had, I think, like 15 different carts that clubs purchased, and they were able to have their own cart and drive around. And this time it looks different. There will still be golf cart roads, and golf carts will be asked to stay on the perimeter and not travel through camp. So that's another way they're trying to change the way people use the golf carts. So keep that in mind. I saw the question in the chat, can I get my own? You cannot bring your own golf cart. It has to do with insurance and different reasons that they're saying and the liability. So they're asking people not to bring their own golf carts. But that's another big question that we're getting. If we have information in January, by the time we get to the area council meetings, we will share that information with you. It's not that we don't want you to know what's going on. It's just that we don't have information to share with you about what's going on with golf carts. So thank you for your patience. And also, we've made a decision that there is no waiting list, right? So you can't start submitting your name and saying, I'm on the list and I'm on the top of the list and I'm going to be the first one to get a golf cart if there's medical golf carts. We will set a date. We will say medical golf carts are open on this date, and that's when we will start gathering that list. We have not started the list. We will not start the list until we have solid information from Camporee. So please keep that in mind. That is still a pending item. All right. So the other question that we're hearing is, when can we register in YMMS through Florida Conference for the Camporee? Please remember that registering your club in YMMS does several things. One, it helps us use the system to make sure all the adults that are attending are background checked. It also helps us to confirm that the number of people you're bringing is the number of people that Camporee knows or has you for buying tickets for them. So it's a chance for us to match the details. Another thing it does is it tells us how many people you're bringing to camp at the Camporee. right? So we know that you're not staying off site, but you're on site. Because camping space will be such a premium, we want to make sure that we're tracking who's actually camping, who's off site, and that we give you the space that you need. Another reason this is important to register through YMMS is because if you are hosting clubs, if you have international guests, if you have friends from another country that they bought their international tickets, but they're coming to stay with you and you're going to host them, we need to know about that because that will give you additional space to camp. So those are part of the reasons why we're asking you to make sure you register through YMMS in addition to registering with Camporee to buy your tickets. So again, that will open, we'll tell you more about that at area council meetings, but that will open in January and you'll get more information about that. There are some things, let me go to our chat room here real quick to make sure I'm catching up on that. Sorry for that. Not following that right off. A question, where can I sign to be a medical volunteer? Okay, so if you want to volunteer with Camporee, that's one thing. You would go to camporee.org and you'd volunteer to be with them. If you want to volunteer with Florida Conference, you would send us an email and I can send that email to you in the chat. And that's where you would tell us, hey, I would like to volunteer with Florida Conference. And this could be for anything. This particular question is, could I volunteer for medical? And yes, you can for Florida Medical. And Javier is working with the committee to build that medical team. The committee's already been meeting for Florida Conference. Javier, I believe for 6 months we've been meeting already, haven't we? Something like that?
Yeah, for 6 months.
Yeah, so we're working hard on getting stuff going. A question in the chat room, on Monday, will buses be able to drop off? Yes, they will be able to drop off clubs because the gates will open. So gates open on Monday at 8 a.m. and you can have the bus take you. We will make sure that where we send your bus is a safe place to drive your bus. I don't know if it's been your experience, but most camporees that I've seen, buses are told to go one way because they don't want to carry their stuff that far, and they go off the main road they were asked to stay on, and buses get stuck. And then it jams up the road and does that. So please only stay where we tell you to stay with buses, but that is something that, yes, on Monday, we'll tell you where to go, and that will help you.
Sorry, Pedro, sorry, the question was like, will they drop us off like in front of our campsite, or will there be like a specific drop off point that they drop us off?
Yeah, so they will go as close to your campsite as is safe for them to go without a chance of getting stuck. So they will be able to get inside Florida Conference and they'll be able to get close to where you're actually camping. And that's where you would decide as a director if you want to have the bus take you over to get your tickets changed into wristbands with camporee.org and then come over, or if you just want one adult to travel over there on foot, or however you want to do that. But that's the kind of thing you'll want to manage as you look at what you're going to do and how you're going to get there.
Got it.
So a question in the chat was, what's the size of the D containers? Thank you, Javier, for putting that in there. Another question was, what's the cost for the D containers? If I'm not mistaken, it's $250. And we can go back and look at that here in a moment. Okay, very good. I think I'm caught up with the chat. Oh, can we come in on Tuesday? Yes, you can come in on Tuesday. And that's not a problem. Bernice from Miami Central has a concern. I've only got 34. Okay, so if you have a question about tickets, my recommendation is that you talk to camporee.org. And if you go to camporee.org, you can either message them, you can find an email to send to them, or you can look for a number. But all ticket issues go through Camporee. And that brings up another point that I think we should probably talk about real quick. And that is recently, I think within the last 30 days, I will, if Camporee doesn't answer you, then email them and CC me so I can keep track of the conversation and we'll help you. Sorry you're not able to get through. I will tell you this about different things that are happening with tickets and registration. Camporee recently, within the last month, changed their ticket process so that they have now a new way for people who buy tickets to print tickets. And currently that feature is disabled. So if you did print out a ticket before, that ticket won't be accepted. You still have the ticket in your account, but the way that you printed it out before, that's no longer valid. So please make sure that if you did print any tickets under your original Camporee.org account, that you get rid of those tickets because they're not going to help you. In terms of the printed tickets, please understand, I'm only talking about the printed tickets. The actual ticket itself, the electronic ticket, still is in your account and that still works and that will still be fine. So if you haven't been to your Camporee account recently, you do need to go back in and log in and reset your password and get all that going. So we want to make sure that clubs don't get stuck or caught and then have problems and say, oh no, what do I do? My account's not working and I can't get my tickets. We want you to, with time, be able to go through all that, get all that information, make sure you update your password, log in, make sure your login works, get your new password, save it, and then start to see all your tickets. And if you don't see all the tickets that you need, talk to camporee.org. If they don't answer you, if you call them, or if you email them and you can't get through, then please contact our office and we'll see if we can't help you to make contact with them. Okay?
Dr. Pedro,
Yes, Javier.
there's a question regarding renting.
78 people on the line, so what, sir? I can't follow everything.
Sorry, say that again, Javier.
Okay, no, there is a question on the chat regarding canopies, where to rent canopies. We don't have a list for canopies for companies, but I'll be more than glad to give you the name of the one that the Florida Conference is using, just in case they want to rent one, that we can use the same company. And
Very good.
also regarding big canopies, I need to add this. We need to know if your club is renting one, because the grounds need to be checked for underground utilities. So, and that needs to be done before the club get there. So most likely the staff from Florida Conference is going to be there, but we need to know that your ground need to be checked. That way, when the company comes, it's clear for them to do everything that they need to do.
Good call. Thank you for that. So yeah, please do inform us if you are bringing or if you are purchasing a large canopy so we can check that for you. I did go back to our website, the BTP .floridaconference.com, and this is the decontainer document. And you see the dimensions there, you see the price there. This is the day that it will load on Sunday before Camporee opens. I'm sorry, on the Sunday before the week that Camporee opens. And then we will load the decontainers on the 11th, and the following Sunday bring them back to the same areas. There'll be a central north truck and there'll be a south truck. And if we need a third truck because people want more containers, we can do that as long as we can fill that truck. So here's all the information. If you haven't gotten this, please go to our website and it's right there under, do you need a decontainer? And there's all the details that you need. Okay. Very good. Those are some of the big things. Some new messages have come in.
Good night, Pastor Pedro. I have a question.
Yes.
And it has to do with hosting clubs. You mentioned that based on your capacity or your space allotted is based on the number of people you have in your club. And if you're hosting clubs, then there will be additional space provided for the clubs you're hosting. But
as long as we are informed of it and we know about it, so we can add that to your camping space number. Correct. Marlene?
Yes.
Are you good?
Yes, I'm good.
Okay. Very good. So there's a question in the chat. Do individuals have to check in at Florida Conference headquarters themselves? This is something that let us answer that for you on January's ACM, because we would like to review a few more things before we share that information with you. So we'll hold off on that answer. Typically for our check-ins, we've been having everybody come, all the adults present their IDs. That's been the new standard that we're trying to create. to help keep kids safe. Very good. So those are some of the big strokes of what we're doing for Camporee. Javier, do you have other input you'd like to share with people tonight?
Yes, people are asking about the rental canopy, the big one. Right now, we don't have one particular company. We're working on signing a contract with one company, but I don't have the information with me right now on the company and the pricing. That's something that each club needs to do individually when they contact the company, because I don't know the sizes, I don't know what they're going to be renting. But I'll be more than glad to share the information as soon as I get that information. What I can do is on the chat, I can put my telephone number and my email address, and then you can send me an email or send me a text. And remember, so for some of you, I don't have your information on my phone. So just let me know who you are, what club, and I'll be more than glad to share that information for you.
Thank you, Javier. Very good. And
Question,
yes, what's your question?
Pastor Marcia Smith from Fort Pierce.
Okay.
I was wondering about the plan for medical coverage, if we have any information yet from our medical department on what that plan may be looking like.
So yes, there is information already, and that was something that we went through. That information lives on our website that we shared at the beginning of the call. And what it is camporee.org has contracted again with Adventist Risk Management, and the cost per person for the coverage, I think it's like 7 days before, during the Camporee, and 7 travel days after. That cost is under $10 per person. And what that does is it provides additional coverage. So if you have a little Pathfinder named Juan, and Juan breaks his leg while he's at Camporee, his own family insurance would be primary, and then the additional supplemental insurance you purchase for that $10 per person, that's where they would assist you with the portion that your own insurance doesn't cover. We're asking each Pathfinder would have on their person medical information. So they would have any allergies they would have their blood type, they would have all that information, and that form lives on our website. So you can go to our website and get that form, the Camporee, so you'll have all that. But yes, every club is being asked to purchase this insurance, and that is something that is being asked of us by Camporee and required by Camporee. Does that answer your question?
No. I didn't interrupt you from going over because I know people have joined since we spoke about that, but I'm looking for coverage on site at Camporee for emergencies in regards to the Florida conference.
So the insurance that you purchase covers the travel days there for a week, the travel days back for a week, and the week of the Camporee itself. And Camporee is working with dentists, they're working with ophthalmologists, they're working with local hospitals to make sure that anything that a Pathfinder might need while they're there, that they would know where to go and who to go to get their medical needs addressed while at Camporee for the Camporee. Does that help?
It does help. I think as we get closer though, I was also looking for the process for getting help if someone were to have an injury or an accident.
I see. So there are layers to that. The first thing is the local club is the first medical stop. So if a kid needs an aspirin, or a kid needs a bandage, or some ointment because they got bit by a bug, or they need a cold pack, the club for a Band-Aid, that kind of thing, should be the first stop. Florida Conference will also have at our headquarters a medical station set up. So that's where you would come if your local club doesn't have the resources to deal with whatever the medical issue is. If the conference at the headquarters can't deal with the medical issue, we'll send you to Camporee Medical. There will be a Camporee Medical on site. So you've got 3 layers: club, conference, Camporee. And then outside of that, anything Camporee Medical can't handle, will get sent out either by ambulance or by vehicle to the local medical team in Gillette to be cared for. It's a good question.
Thank you. That does answer. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Finally, I got there. All right.
Ask that one.
So there is a question in the chat. Let me hit that real quick. In the chat, there's a question about airfare. And so we got more information about another charter company. So I tried another charter company. And this time I just asked the charter company straight out, like, I want to know if you can get me a flight that's a better value than what I can go get commercially through a travel agent or through an online Southwest, American Airlines, whatever you choose to fly on. And they said, we can't do that. So at this point, everything that we thought we could do with a chartered flight is not going to be a benefit to you. If you want a chartered flight, what we're finding is $1,400 to $2,400 per person is the range of the ticket. And I've told all these companies that's out of reach. Like, that's beyond the reach of our clubs. At least I don't know a club that has $2,000 to pay just for airfare tickets for everybody. So what we are suggesting when it comes to air travel is that you would contact airlines and go the route of group travel. And that may be a savings to you. Not going to be a substantial savings. I don't think I've heard of anyone saving more than $30, $40 per ticket for group sales, but it does lock you in as one group. And here's the nice thing is when it locks you in as a group, they also give you a group rate. So you don't have to try to calculate. If I go to southwest.com, there are so many tickets for this seat price. So if the price is $344, there are only so many seats at that price. And then the price goes up to $374, so many seats. And then it goes up to $394. So everybody would be paying a different price if you go one by one through the airlines, through their website. But group sales gives you one group, one purchase, everybody together. And even some airlines are giving you a chance to reserve those tickets, but not pay for them until later. So some clubs are actually finding out some pretty good deals through group sales that are helpful to them. So unfortunately, what we thought might be a thing we could do with charters is not working. Here's a question online. Will there be any more staff kids tickets made available? Yeah, I've run into that myself. It seems like, why don't they have more staff kid tickets? And at this point, they have not released more. It's something we can email them again about. I'll make a note. Anybody else hitting that issue? Staff kids tickets? So depending on their age, it is a little bit different price, but unfortunately at this point, that price and that ticket is sold out, they're saying. So, okay, another question. Transportation to shop, the local Walmart would start Monday or Tuesday. Good question. Javier, do you know that one? When does local, I don't think local transportation from the Camporee would start until Tuesday noon.
It's probably Tuesday morning, I'm guessing. I wrote myself a note, so I can ask and get the information for next time.
Okay. Okay, very good. So that will be a pending thing. And do online orders be delivered to Camporee or pick them up? I think it depends on how you order. I think there is a chance for them to deliver, depending on what you do with your order. So that's something that you'd have to check with the Walmart website. I don't have the answer for that, whether you can get it delivered to Camporee and where would they deliver it versus do you have to go pick it up? But that's something we can definitely keep looking for information for. Will there be a parking area for buses and cars? Yes. And those cars do need to stay parked because it'll be off-site so they can come and go. You'll have access to those vehicles. You can get in, go into town, come back, park in the parking area, and then you have to walk your stuff back in. But yes, you will have access to your vehicle. Very nice. Richard says he has 2 or 3 child tickets, so he's going to check. If you want to check with him, I think that was Kelvin that was asking for City Spanish. So check with Kelvin, and thank you for saying that. The square footage of campsites. At this point, I believe you should plan on 120 square feet per person. I think the Camporee gives us 140 from the union, but then we have to add our roads and all our infrastructure. So plan on at least 120 at this point, and then if we can add more, we will. But at this point, that is what we are saying we will have. RV pricing. So there are no hookups for you. I did mention that earlier. There are no RV hookups. You can get gray water pumped for a fee, and I don't know that fee. It's usually between $50 and $150. It depends on the Camporee, the year, the location. So that's the one thing I can tell you for RVs. But for RV pricing, you have to just go to all the companies, and you can go online to camporee.org and look for that information to see RVs and pricing, but there are no hookups in the Florida Conference camping area. Marlene, I see your hand up. So
Yeah.
hang on, go ahead.
I just wanted additional to find out the fact that things have changed. And we know if you're hosting a club, then we need to go through YMMS for the adults. So what's the tracking process for clubs that is reaching out to NAD clubs and asking to host them on their campsite? How is the conference handling that, since you have to provide a number? So if we have 61 and we have another 10, that is 71 people in our campsite, how will we account for those additional people? They have international tickets, but how will we account for them in YMMS?
Correct. And that's something that we will announce in January, because we have to create that in the YMMS and say, how can we'll show you how to do that so you can see what we're asking for. And that will, if we don't have it then, we'll have it in one of our other Zoom meetings as we get ready for Camporee.
Okay.
Okay. Someone from Lake Wales SDA is asking child tickets for what? So Camporee has 3 different tickets, I think, if I'm not mistaken. One is a 0 to 3, and that's a free ticket. Then there's a child ticket. I think it's 4 to 8. And that ticket is, I think, $125. And then the next ticket for 9 and up is the adult ticket, and that's the regular ticket for the $225. So that's why people are asking about the child ticket, because it's for that younger group, ages 4 to 8. And that child ticket doesn't include some stuff, but it does give them a ticket to be able to attend. So somebody said in the chat, a child ticket is for children 0 to 9, and that is not accurate information. So just be careful with what you read and what you follow. There is a child ticket that's free 0 to 3. There's a child ticket that's a fee for 4 to 8, and then 9 and up is a full price ticket. If somebody stays at a hotel, can I come to the campground every day? If you have a ticket, yes. You'd go to park and you'd walk in. So if you have a ticket, you check in and you get your wristband, you would come through the security checkpoint, show your band, and they'd let you in. You'd be walking at that point. So if you're staying off site, you do still have to have a ticket to come in. And day passes will not be on sale until we get to probably April. They're going to wait for all the week passes to sell out before they're going to open the day passes. All right. Good. There's some communication in there.
Hey, Pedro.
Yeah.
2 questions on arrival and departure. Sorry, just to go back, I wanted to make sure I was clear. So
Yep.
on Tuesday, I heard you say that we are allowed to get there on Tuesday. Will roads still be open for buses to get close to campsite, or no for that?
My best response for that, Tomas, is plan on noon for roads to start to be limited on Tuesday.
Okay.
Because they're going to start once activities open at noon. I think it's going to change how traffic flows through the city. So the gates open at 8 a.m. Monday, and plan on them coming to a close around noon on Tuesday as the city starts moving and kids are running about and doing activities.
Got it. Okay, perfect. And then last thing then for departure, I know that there's a departure program on Saturday evening. If for some reason for travel we have to leave before the program, is that allowed or no?
Yeah. Thanks for the question. So typically, typically what happens is clubs are allowed to leave Saturday night in terms of packing up and getting their stuff. If they want to bring vehicles in, Usually that waits until the program has begun. So they ask for all the traffic that's going to go to the program to get settled and seated. Once that happens, I think sometime Saturday evening, then vehicles are allowed to enter. And there is a specific place where buses would be allowed to enter to come in to pick you up so that you could, if you needed to leave Saturday night. What we would ask is, as you think about the vehicle that you have in your campsite, do not plan on the vehicle that you put in your campsite to be your vehicle to go into town, to be your vehicle to leave early Saturday from the program. You could leave anytime Saturday you want by packing up your gear and walking it out to a vehicle that's parked outside, loading it up and going. No one will stop you from doing that. But if you want to bring a vehicle in to load, that you'll have to wait until the evening program begins so that all of the foot traffic is already settled and not in jeopardy at that point.
Okay, that's understood. So then, the transportation will be allowed to come in during the program, and then if we wanted to leave right after the program, then obviously we could leave at that time, whatever, right?
Most of me, Tomas says that at 11 o'clock, they say buses can start to leave. I don't know why that number is in my head, but that's what I'm remembering at this point.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
The deadline, Marcia has a question in the chat, the deadline to have our final head count in regarding the campsites, that will probably be sometime in May. So don't worry about that. That's not an urgent thing. All the tickets haven't sold out yet. All the day passes haven't been purchased yet. There's still a lot of moving pieces. All the hosting of international guests hasn't been finalized yet. So until all those pieces are done, we won't require that final head count from you. So here's a good question. Can we buy older children tickets for the younger kids? You could, but at that point, you're overpaying for the ticket. That's what we're trying to say. If you can avoid it, that's what we're asking. And please, I've had some clubs already ask me this. For their international clubs that want to join them, they're saying, can we buy North American tickets and give those to our guests that are coming from the international ticket pool? What do you think the answer is to that?
No.
Please don't do it. Why? Two reasons. One, that leaves international tickets that North America people don't have access to that are left unsold. And then it takes away North American tickets from Pathfinders from North America that would like to attend the Camporee. But if you buy them up and then give them to your international guests, it messes with that. Plus, it also doesn't give Camporee an accurate picture of who's really coming and attending the Camporee and from where. So please don't buy tickets for people outside of the US and don't sell them your tickets. Do your best to get the ticket that you need. Correct. The question in the chat was there's nothing happening on Monday night. That is correct. You can arrive on Monday at 8 a.m., but there's no activity on the campgrounds on Monday and nothing Tuesday morning until 8 a.m. So please keep that in mind. Question, is there security in the parking areas to make sure no one without wristbands enters the campsite? Yes. Every union will have their own gate entrance, and every union will be asked to provide their own security to staff their gate. So yes, they will be there. They will be checking the wristbands. So that is the plan. The question, are there any programs or activities on Sunday, the 11th of August? The answer is no. There are no activities on Sunday. Everything ends on Saturday night after the closing program. So please keep that in mind also as you plan your time. Okay, very good. Thank you so much for being on. Javier, would you add anything or do you have any other thoughts to share tonight? And then are there any other questions as we start to wrap up our last Zoom meeting of 2023?
Yeah, I just want to say a lot of you have contacted me individually, and I put my information on the chat, so you can contact me by email or by text, and I'll be more than happy to help you individually if you have any questions. So just let me know your questions, and if I don't know the answer, I will look for it, basically. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Javier. And so there are a couple of questions in the chat. No, there are not any hotel deals that we have found. Most people who have tried to get hotels have had a hard time finding hotels. There are a few hotels that have still said we haven't opened for booking yet. So that's a small chance that you might get something. And then the other question was to just make sure and clarify, can we arrive on Tuesday? And the answer is yes, you may arrive on Tuesday. The one caution I would give you about arriving on Tuesday, Tuesday arrivals before noon will be able to drive into their campsite and set up. Arrivals after noon on Tuesday, because that's when everything opens up, that may be limited in terms of where you can drive to. So you may have to haul your gear, and we won't have the Kubota and trailer. We won't have the resources that we have for our events to be able to help transport you, and golf carts will be limited. So please do be cautious about your times of arrivals and all that you do. We want to take care of you the best that we can, and there are some limits regarding what we can do to help you. So please do plan to arrive after 8 a.m. on Monday and before noon on Tuesday for the best access to your camping area. There is a question in the chat about the child ticket. Camporee does offer different tickets for children. For children 0 to 3, that ticket is free. There is no cost for that. And there is nothing given to that child. No patch, nothing. There is another child ticket for ages 4 to 8. That child ticket also has limited things that are received, but it also has a lower price. I believe it's $125. The third child ticket is ages 9 and up. Ages 9 and up. At that point, it's the full price, $225 for a ticket, and that gives them full access to all of the Camporee. So that's what we had said earlier about the kids ticket and the kids pricing. And all that information you can find on the camporee.org website. You can get there through our website, through the BTP website. And a question came in again about the medical golf cart. So I'll say that as we wrap up. Medical golf carts have not been released, and it won't be until the end of January when we open up the request for a medical golf cart. And for everyone who would like to request a medical golf cart, we're asking you from even now to consider the reality that there will not be many medical golf carts available for people to purchase or to rent, and you cannot bring your own medical golf cart. So unfortunately, there will be a very small group of people who get medical golf carts, and it may even be that instead of releasing medical golf carts, Florida says, how can we create a shuttle service for our medical need of medical golf carts in Florida and work on that, because the number will be too few to satisfy the number of requests. So there's no waiting list. There's no, can you put me down for a medical golf cart? It's not been released yet. It has not been released, and it won't be released. So just keep that in mind. All right. Another question about the flights. There is no good news on flights. Everybody, the best recommendation we have is that you would call the airline of your choice and that you would ask for a group rate. Ask someone to talk to you about group rates. Depending on where you fly into, different airlines will be able to assist you. If you fly into Denver, almost any airline that you would choose to travel on will get you to Denver. If you start to go to Casper, which is closer to Gillette, there are fewer airlines. And if you want to fly into Gillette, there are even fewer airlines still that service that area. So we'll work on putting together a list of airlines and areas, airlines and cities, so you can know and help you that way. Okay. Yes, tickets are sold out currently for ages 4 to 8. And no, they have not released new ones that I'm aware of. And this is your first Camporee. Okay, so there's one person in the chat saying this is our first Camporee. Can we get a mentor? Carline, where are you from? Which club are you from? Carline, hello?
Yes, I was unmuting myself. I'm from Philadelphia, French SDA. This is our first time going. So we don't know what to do. We bought a few tickets already, but
Philadelphia French is where?
Florida,
No.
and we're in Coral Springs.
Coral Springs.
Pastor, this is the lady. I'll deal with that. I'll call her.
Hi,
Oh,
Lydia.
now you're in trouble, Carline. Lydia, thank you for that. Yeah, I knew if I could figure out where you were, I knew we could help someone. So Lydia's on it, and now you have no excuses because Lydia's
Yeah.
going to help you get over the top.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Alicia from Margate, when will you have ticket information? I'm not sure what you're asking for. And Lake Wales is asking for help too. Do we have anybody from near Lake Wales on the call tonight?
We can help her, Pastor. That's Ruben.
Ruben.
That's Ruben's territory, so we can help her.
Okay, so Lake Wales, Lurlette will be your point of contact. That's great. Come to Pompano, we'll coach you. So Juna's willing to help. Fort Pierce needs one child ticket for ages 4 to 8. So if somebody has a ticket, Fort Pierce. And would it be helpful if we created like a bulletin board on our website where you could post what you need and post what you have to get rid of so we can create a clearinghouse? We'll work on that. Okay. Richard, I see your finger.
Yes, Pastor. Actually, I have two questions. We're trying to see renting transportation to drive from Florida to Gillette, Wyoming. The problem is that we can rent the 12 passenger, which we know that's the guideline. But the problem is, Enterprise, there when you rent it from them, it showed up at the 15 passenger instead of a 12 passenger. So that's one question.
Yeah.
I'll let you answer that one.
Yeah, so the question is a good one because we don't want clubs arriving in 15 passenger vans, and we don't want Pathfinders traveling in 15 passenger vans. It's actually not something that Florida Conference allows. And the reason is for kid safety. So if you are trying to get a van and you can't get a guarantee that you will get a 12 passenger van that really is a 12 passenger van, I would ask you to consider getting minivans that you know are 6 to 8 passengers. I know that's going to mean more drivers and more vehicles, but it will help you to have a sense of this is for us keeping our kids safe. And everyone needs to have a seatbelt, and that's the kind of thing. So we will look on posting those guidelines for 12 passenger vans to our website. So you can have that there. That is in your Pathfinder manual. So that information is already there. But we'll look on adding that for those that need it there in the website.
Pastor?
Great.
Hang on. Richard, a follow-up?
Yes, second question. If for some reason we could not get the 12 passenger van, several people that came up to me and told me that maybe it's possible to rent one of those shuttle buses where there's like 35 to 45 passengers, where we rent it from a company, but we have our own CDL driver transport the club there. Is that permittable?
Yeah, so once you get to that bigger bus that has a dual wheelbase in the back and it requires a specific license and you have a driver that meets that requirement, absolutely acceptable within the bounds. I will say this for anybody who is renting a vehicle, the Florida Conference does require that for that vehicle rental that you get a policy of $1 million through the conference to cover the insurance for that vehicle. You can't get that normally from Enterprise or from budget. They won't offer you that amount of insurance coverage, but Florida Conference does ask that you get that amount of coverage. Usually from a car rental or a company that's local, they provide you like up to a $10,000 policy, which if you've ever been in the hospital, $10,000 goes because they put you in a bed, right? Like that's something that would go very quickly. So we do want to make sure that you're aware of that as well.
Would you be able to share the information about the insurance policy on the website?
We will add that to the website. It currently lives on our website under the Pathfinder manual, but we'll take it out of there and we'll add it over so that you can have it.
Thank you, Pastor.
Okay.
Pastor?
Yes, Lurlette.
There's a question in the chat asking if there's transportation from the airport to Gillette.
I'm so glad you're going to answer that for us.
No, Pastor, go ahead and answer.
So we have Lurlet working on this for us. And so far it has been a challenge because a lot of clubs from around US are planning to travel to Denver and then take a bus. So because of that, the amount of buses available for people to use to get from Denver to Gillette has shrunk really quick. So Lurlet's working on that, but not getting a lot of positive traction. The last I heard, if something's changed, please update us, Lurlet. But we are working on that because we know some clubs, that's the cheapest ticket is to fly from Orlando or Miami or Tampa to Denver and then rent vehicles or rent a bus to take you the rest of the way. From Denver to Gillette is about 5.5 to 6 hours of drive time. So keep that in mind as you consider Denver as an option. Another thing to keep in mind, if you are getting a bus from Florida to Gillette, you probably need to plan on 3 days of travel time. So that is 3 days to Gillette, 3 days back from Gillette, and then another 6 to 7 days at Gillette. So you've increased your time away from 1 week for the event to 2 weeks for the 3 days up, the 3 days back. And if you stop to do anything on the way, so just keep in mind that there is travel time that you have to consider. And what does that cost? How does that affect your families and the people traveling? Some just like the experience. They want to be on the bus, and 3 days on the bus sounds fun to them. Okay, that's great. I just want you to be aware, if you take a bus from Florida to Gillette, you're probably looking at 3 days of travel each way, and that's something you need to be aware of. Someone's asking about Salt Lake City. Folks, you can fly to any airport you want to. You could fly to Canada if you want to and come down. It's up to you to do whatever you want. We just want you to be aware that everything has a benefit, right? Like if you fly, I know some clubs are going to Salt Lake City and they're going to go hit some national parks and then go back to Salt Lake City, then come over to Gillette. You can be as creative as you want. Just make sure that you're being thorough and careful and planning with all your details to make sure everybody gets what they need. I do see Alicia's hand up, and then we'll start to wrap up for tonight. Alicia, do you want to make your comment or question?
I wanted to clarify the question I was asking just to make sure I understood what you were saying. Did you mention that you were going to put together a package with the different cities for entrance, like suggestions for flights?
So what I mentioned about flights was that the best suggestion we have to clubs at this point for flights is for you to contact the airlines. I did say that we would provide the list that says, these are the carriers, the airline carriers that fly to Denver. This is the smaller list that gets to Casper, and this is the smaller list that gets to Gillette. There is one other option called Rapid City, and Rapid City is another airport, but again, with smaller options. Basically, think this, any airline would get me to Denver. To Casper, United, and Delta, I think are the two that go there. And then once you get to Gillette, I think you just have United. I'm not sure if the other one goes, but yes, we can work on that list. I did commit to getting that list, and I have a note of that. So we will provide that to you to the website.
Okay, great. Thanks. That's what I was asking you. When would that list be ready? Thank you.
You're welcome. That should be there by by January for our council meetings. Okay. Very good. Anyone else? All right, Javier, thank you for being on. Thank you to Lydia and to Lurlet. And I don't know who else was here from our OAV team. I haven't been looking to all that.
Pastor Pedro, if I'm not mistaken, Delta fly to Gillette also, but is the downside from Denver? That means it's a commuter plane which can only hold 50 passenger.
Okay, thank you, Calvin, and thank you for being on. I hadn't seen your phone.
Merlin and myself is on.
Excellent, and I see Tony Shaw on also. Tony is our new South Florida Pathfinder area administrator. So we welcome Tony Anthony Shaw as our South Florida administrator here. Thank you for being on. And it's a nice picture of you and Dahlia there. So that's what we wanted to do, is at least get the ball rolling and get you some information as you head into the holiday season. We will have a question and answer time at the area council meetings specific to Gillette. Hopefully we'll have more information for you. So just keep that in mind. I think it starts Sabbath the 13th in North Florida, Sunday the 14th of January in Central Florida, and then at the end of the month for South Florida, Southwest Florida, and West Florida for the area council meetings. So please watch there. Also, the newsletter will continue to give you the link to our Camporee website, but please do go there, and that's where you can find a lot of information from the Florida Camporee website. And I'm going to put that in the chat here as we wrap up. So thank you for being on. If you do have any questions, Javier's put his contact there. Earlier, we put the contact for the Pathfinder Adventure Department. Most of you have my contact info. I can put that up as well, so you can have that. And we'll do all we can to help you and to be ready and to have a great experience. Yes, Javier.
No, I just have a comment. Is this minute going to be available for somebody else that wasn't able to be here tonight to see?
It is being recorded and it will be uploaded to our webpage, the BTP at Florida Conference. In addition, we'll put the link on our newsletter. So you can click from there, or you can come to the website and you can watch the previous videos. Yep.
Great, thank you.
Very good. All right. Thank you for coming on. Let me pray us out. And then if there are one or two people that have questions and want to stick by, we'll stay by a little bit more. Let's pray together. Our God and our Father, thank you that it is December. Thank you that soon it will be August. And help us to not be stressed about the plans that have to be made and the final details and things that need to be done, but help us to look to each other for help, to look to you for help. And thank you for those that have even tonight said, hey, I can help with this, I can help with that, I have this ticket, I'll help you as a new club director. We don't want anybody to struggle or to feel alone. We want all our Florida clubs to have a great experience, not just at Gillette, but even in preparation to get to Gillette. So thank you for people like Javier that lead us for different things and for this Camporee specifically. And we pray that you'll continue to help us with all that we need help with. We pray for Camporee, that as they plan and they do their organizing, that you'll give them wisdom, that you'll give them spiritual guidance, and that you'll help them with all that they need. Thank you that we get to go to things like this Gillette Camporee, and we pray for our Pathfinders and adults that will be a part of it, that it won't just be an event that we go to, but that it will remind us to believe the promise. It will give us a new picture of how we can trust Jesus to take care of us, and we can believe in what he tells us. Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for the chance to meet with these leaders tonight. We pray all these things in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Thank you very much for coming on. Have a good night for the rest of your Sunday. Happy week to you. And I will stop the recording. We will make sure that this does get available to you